That's a big discussion.
That's a deep one, but no, it was worth it because adolescents, we want, you know, the children of the future, and you know they're in a very crucial time, and I think the adolescence just as a human being to be experiencing adolescence now is a madness. It's where, you know, it's been mad pandemics, economic inequality, like conflicts, fucking genocide, like being a youth now, it ain't easy.
It's a madness.
And I feel like sometimes people are like, these kids got it proper reason, they got their phones and everything. You got your phone in ya. That's how people talk about children. Like, you got it easy, they got phones now, they can do this, they can do that. It's so easy, they can do everything from there. They're dealing with a lot right now, and we need to respect that. And people need to start acting like teenagers themselves and invest more time in the upbringing of these children. And that is what this show is about. So I definitely guarantee people who are interested in that will be entertained by the show. They'll be shocked by the show. And I predict that this show, next year, BAFTAs, RTS awards on that, they're going to clean up. Stephen Graham's going to clean up, and this young Owen Cooper, they're going to clean up, and they deserve it. And Ashley Walters, as a supporting actor as well, better get the flowers he deserves for his portrayal in this show, because this man this brother's been a part of, I would say, of the last two of the largest culturally significant pieces that have appeared on television.
You know what? You're right. Yeah,
like the last 5-10 years. Man, I have to say that.
Yeah.
Because between that and Top Boy, that has put Black British culture, urban culture
around the world. Yeah. Like, it's spread it across the world.
And for me, I couldn't have thought of a better person to have led that project.
Yeah,
he deserved it, and he absolutely smashed it.
And you know what? I tilt my hat to Kano as well, because he's very close behind in the sense of like the acting role and bringing Top Boy and the whole narrative to the fore and spread it. Like, his portrayal of Sully. Like,
listen, and what's funny is, I believe both of these men, in terms of their artistry, have been responsible for pushing the envelope and bridging the gap. Like, they're two men. Like, I look at Asher D, and Asher D is somebody who was able to take, alongside some other people in So Solid as well, but he's one of the people that was able to bridge the gap between the 4x4 garage and like the garage MCing to like almost proper rapping in 16s and stuff. Because remember, that's who clashed Dizzy.
Yeah.
And Dizzy's the one who wrote the Grime Bible.
Yeah.
Now, on the point of Grime, I believe personally, Dizzy wrote the Bible. That's my guy right there. And I think it's probably fair to say we have to even credit Dizzy as for me, that's a British music icon whose influence is even wider than Grime and Garage. Because, and I only say that because even though I prefer Dizzy in the boy in the corner kind of like flimsy thing, to be a guy that's come from Bo and doing tunes with, you know, David Guetta and like Robbie Williams and them things, they're not my tunes, but and also keeping in mind when he did the tune Calvin Harris, Dance With Me, man was independent for that.
And I hear all that, I hear all of that, but Wiley for me,
I mean, trust me,
like,
that's
Wiley is the UK's Kanye from an artistic point of view. And we're actually going under Kanye. Actually pointed that way. I mentioned that. It was a good transition.
Absolutely.
But I have to say, Wiley for me is the done, because he creates space for so many artists, and there's so many artists that come out and say, you know what, how much he's done for me. You get me? Like, so yeah.
Even can I just say as well? Listen, me too.
Yeah, I mean,
people can feel how they want to feel about it.
Standard.
As an artist and as a creative, what he's contributed to British music and Black British music, the man, well, he needs something more than an OBE or MBE, but this is the man that needs to get his flowers. But what I'll say,
OBE.
Exactly, of course.
Yes. Anyway,
that's what happened, innit? But what I'm gonna say with Wiley as well, is that there's also the point, as well as all that stuff he's done there as well, that how this man, like I said, the careers that he's launched, and what I was gonna say was the longevity, because you see, there's been about 2 or 3 times when people have been like, Grime, look where it is now at this time right now. Like, I've seen Chip and Scorcher just dropped a thing recently.
Yeah.
And everyone's baying for it. Seeing where DJ AG has also contributed towards, you know, generating this interest in this.
Dizzy wasn't doing those dance records before Wiley did that. Them kind of dance.
Yeah, like Nicole's Groove and that.
You get, I'm sure. You get what I'm saying. Like, doing phase set trends. So to me, it
was a jungle man. It was a page to go man. Champagne dancer. Listen, Wiley is the guy. However people want to feel about that, that's their business.
If you know what, though, anyone who feels aware about Wiley artistically, you get what I'm showing you, then you're suffering some sort of like cognitive dissonance I can't explain, bro. Like you need to go and stick your head in the ground. Because
That's like saying you like drum and bass, but you don't rate Shy FX.
Listen,
At the very least, saying that. You get me?
Minor, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, foolishness. But moving on to Kanye West. Today he dropped an interview. Well, he didn't drop the interview. Academics, not a person I particularly like, but there you go. Yeah. He got the privilege of interviewing Kanye West, and I'm gonna call it a privilege, no matter what people say. You might have different opinions, but I've always said, and to kind of put it short, I remember we had another conversation shortly about Kanye West, and I remember I can't remember the words verbatim, but you was basically saying like, "Right, nah, man, I can't really deal with Kanye." Boom, boom, bam, rah. And I remember saying to you, there was a point in which, and I can't remember the point. Somebody will rewind and look at the episode, but there was a point where I said the same thing as you. I was like, "I'm done with Kanye," but then some of the things that he was saying was coming to light, or becoming true. They were turning out to be right, like as far-fetched as they sounded when he first said them. And then I started to correlate that with his music, and I always remember, and I'll always quote this and we spoke about this in the car, when he dropped 808s and Heartbreaks, and nobody understood that album, bro. Like sonically it was so far out there, but what that then done is it birthed the likes of Drake's and Future and so many different people that weren't doing...
even Dirk using auto-tune and stuff
I would argue, as many people, they might want to argue, but I would argue he even informed, what's his name, Lil Wayne's new transition.
Listen, all these, and not just that, like the whole movement of just rappers being able to move away from the New York East Coast style kind of gangster G-Unit that had the game in a chokehold. It's Kanye that removed that chokehold and bridged the gap, because he went from, it was the Backpackers and it was having tunes with Talib and Mos Def or Yasin, and then having Twista on the same kind of album, resurrected Jamie Foxx's career. Like, and I'm not taking away from, because Jamie Foxx is a massively talented man, but it reminded him, right, Jamie Foxx can sing as well again. Do you know what I mean? This is, it's like, for me, it's been his, Kanye. Let's get into the thing. I think that.
Well, I'm gonna finalize my point when I was saying all that by saying Kanye is an artistic done. Yeah. He also says some wild shit, but the shit that he says is now starting to come to fruition, and he's saying even more wilder shit than he said before. So this is why I will give him more grace, because I want to see behind the corner or beyond the corner that he saw, or he's seeing right now. You get me? Because a lot of the times he's professing shit and you're thinking this geezer's gone mad. You get me? And really he's not gone mad. He's actually talking the truth. And I had a conversation because my cousin actually sent me the interview, and I said to him, "What do you think of the interview? You've obviously watched it. He's sending it to me. What do you think?" And he's like, "Yeah, he says some truths, but Kanye is gone mad in it." Like, and then I was talking to another friend of mine later on in the afternoon about it, and I said to my friend, what society, whether it's society, government, establishment, whatever, has cleverly been able to do is dismiss things that are important for us to know coming from the mouths of somebody, and by saying they're just mad, and we just dismiss it. Oh yeah, that person's just mad. Now I say that to say most of us have grown up, whether you being a boy kicking ball in the local ends, or a girl just playing with dolls with your brethrens, or running up and down playing tag, whatever, and there's a house on the corner and there's an old person in the house, whether male or female, and it's like they're grumpy. You don't know why they're grumpy. You get me? It might be because we've been kicking the ball against their wall, and we don't know the correlation between sound traveling through brick into their yard and keeping them up when they're going to bed at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
As a kid,
and we're just you don't know them things, but you just think every time they come out, you're just mad. You get me? Stay away from him. He's mad. He's completely dismissed. Nobody knows the reason why this geezer feels the way he feels. I say that to say this. We grow up and we have that same connotations with anything. Anytime someone says anything and we want to dismiss it, the person's just mad.
Anything that challenges the status quo, people will say you're just mad.
You get what I'm showing you? He's just a mad man.
Funny, Dave Chappelle said something about this, where he was like, he resents the idea that when somebody, especially somebody who is a celebrity, is showing any kind of emotional or psychological distress, we dismiss them as mad, and we don't think to ourselves, what environment are they in, which is creating this kind of mania or psychotic episodes and all these things, which happen to normal people.
Yeah.
But it's this idea that because someone's a celebrity, they can't have a madness. You know what I'm saying? Not they're mad. Like you said, we're not talking about them and writing them off if they're mad. Everyone has a madness.
But then this is what I'm saying. When a man's even talking the truth, though, you get him showing you.
Of course.
Oh, like, because now society or establishment has taken that and been able to kind of put out in the media, they're mad. You get me? Which brings me round to Kanye, because for a lot of time, people have been saying he's mad. But this interview today, he went straight in. Bro, like, the man didn't wait not a second, bro. Like, my man moved the chair out the way, and I have to give the narrative, because the way that my man did it, he moved the chair out the way. He was supposed to sit down. He put on a all black KKK outfit on with an iced out swastika chain. Yeah, and we'll get into that because it sounds mad.
Yeah, don't leave out the other thing.
What's that?
He had a Sean John t-shirt on as well.
Oh yeah, the I saw that and I thought to myself, my man is trebling down, bro.
Yeah.
He's trebling down.
Yeah,
but
trebling down. That's the new thing.
My man is completely trebling down. You get me? My man even is doubling down. My man's in this thing. You get me?
It's a Holy Trinity on there,
brother. Like, it's a madness. Yeah, and I don't want it to be missed though. So we'll get into the whole swastika chain, because while I wouldn't do that. I see it why he's doing it. Yeah, I'm showing you. I see why he's doing it. But yeah, go on.
Now, obviously, we sit on this podcast.
Yes.
Myself representing left.
Yes.
You representing right. But the reason we're on this podcast, Index, is because our idea is this year that it doesn't matter what wing, it's the same bird, innit? And overall, what we're trying to do is, wherever people lie, is have a mutual understanding for the benefit of our community.
Right.
I'm just saying that, yeah.
Yeah.
I say that to say this. I am normally the person who'd be like, I don't understand why he would do this madness, and I disagree with it and the people that he's trying to offend. But I listened to this podcast, I listened to the episode he had, and he said why other people can wear our pain and that's okay, but when I wear their pain, that's not okay. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean I completely agree with that approach and just how in face it is, but I'm going to say this. Don't bother start clutching your pearls and going mad that he is rocking a swastika chain before you address the fact that Nazi memorabilia sells on eBay, sells online, sells in auctions all the time, and no one says nothing. I was on a TV show with Jimmy Carr. It's called Jimmy Carr Destroys Art, and there's a section where I had to debate whether or not we would destroy one of Hitler's paintings. Now, my thing was, fuck that shit. Put that thing through the shredder. He ain't no artist. I don't care. And you know who was not happy with that? All the white people who was watching in the audience. They were like, "Why? What's the big deal?" Blah, 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 blah. Now, you see, if you say something to offend these people, they're getting fully rid of you. And it's like you never existed. And all of your achievements will be erased if you offend the wrong people in our Western civilization. Yeah? I'm saying that nobody jumped up and was like, he killed 6 million Jews. Why do we need to keep his painting? They was all fine. People was looking at me like I was. Some people was like, yeah, but for the most part, there was more than a substantial amount of people who did not like the fact that I said that on behalf of Jewish people, I'm going to throw this painting in the shredder. Which is very ironic when you consider where I am now as a person. But I'm saying this thing, before anybody, if I don't want to hear nobody who identifies as a Zionist chat shit about that chain, before they address the fact like Elon Musk did a salute on stage and Steve Bannon did a salute on stage, and that the AFD is the neo-Nazi party. And then in 2016, when Trump first came to power, there was a tiki torch march of white men saying Jews will not replace us. And then they had another demonstration in Charlottesville and a Jewish girl was run over and she was killed. Before you talk about this pop star or music icon, what he chooses, remember in 2004, 2006, bro, there is a video Up in the Club, by Marcus Houston. Another video called Kiss Kiss with Chris Brown. These men have diamond encrusted toothpicks in their fucking mouths. They didn't do that well, but that's the level we had gotten to as a society, where there were people trying to make money from us for giving you a jewel encrusted fucking toothpick. So before people talk about that effect of that, we have all, particularly our community, have seen people openly playing in our faces. I've seen D&G doing the big Sambo lips on the roll neck. I've seen coolest monkey in the jungle. So going back to our first discussion, he's rage farming.
Yes.
And now everyone's thinking, and it's working.
Yeah.
And it's funny that everyone is addressing the morality of it, but when the millions that people are making, when Tommy Hilfiger said that he want black people to rock his thing, and the CEO of Lululemon said they don't want black people rocking his thing, and the head of Cristal didn't want black people drinking his thing, playing in our faces after years and years and millions and millions and millions of pounds that they've made of us making these things relevant, and playing in our faces.
To go back to the first conversation we're talking about, the perpetuation and promotion of gang violence, warfare, that's been indoctrinating our kids for years, for decades, and they've been making money off it and profiting off our pain. Yeah, because when a child dies, a mother cries. You get what I'm showing you?
Right.
So then what you're talking about is something, and for Leo Cohen to say, I've got to feed my family too, yeah, just shows you how insensitive.
The hypocrisy.
He just doesn't give a fuck. So
don't give a fuck.
To your point,
Yeah.
why are you like, again, I wouldn't choose to rock a diamond encrusted swastika chain.
No.
But he's right in what he's saying. I'm showcasing their pain. When they showcase us and they profit from it, nothing said. It's okay. You get what I'm showing you?
Yep.
But as soon as you do it, the shoe's on the other foot. Now everybody wants to moan and say some shit. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and this is the thing. When he's talking, you have to pick the sense from nonsense, because he has said some wild shit. Some of it, I'm still yet to realize the connection and how it actually makes sense. But some of it is just rage farming. You get me? And he, like you said, it's been successful.
But also, some of it's wild. And you know what? Who is defining what's wild and what's not wild? Because a central theme of like Kanye West's most recent interview and people talking about his behavior and not condoning the behavior, but two of the most pivotal things I've seen recently in terms of Kanye West's journey is after his comment, he made comments about the Jewish community. He was no longer a billionaire, and everybody laughed, and Adidas cut ties with him, and people cut ties with him. He has now gone back into billionaire status through fashion and music and his other ventures. And when that happened, he said, la, 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 wait till I get my money right. Then you can't tell me nothing. And he is doing exactly what he said. So, if we want to concede that what he's saying is wild, I would ask you, what is wilder about what this billionaire, who is self-made in much more of a genuine way than any of his white billionaire peers? Let's get that straight, first of all. Because he never came from the trap as his capital to start building his empire like Jay-Z, for example. He weren't a trapper. His parents did not own an emerald mine like Elon Musk's. His parents weren't property magnates that ran a string of brothels and they made money back then, like Donald Trump's dad. He's built this himself from his music and parlaying that into other stuff. So whatever people say about his disposition, there's a lot of egos and there's a lot of narcissism in the celebrity world. There is. So when you are a black man that's come from the south side of Chicago and you are a self-made billionaire off the back of your ideas, you can argue, no one can tell you nothing. And I'm only saying that because, like I said, I have disagreed with, and I'll be honest, as a black person, I've been hurt by some of the shit that Kanye has said. But the point about him saying that there are people who are making millions and have made billions from our pain and wearing our pain and playing in our faces, why is it different to me? They're highlighting that hypocrisy. I'll cringe.
And you know what?
I'll cringe, but what can you say? And
this is one thing I want to make clear and make people understand and really highlight this point, because amongst all the other things that he said in that interview, what you need to understand is what Dane just said. They have been profiting from our pain for decades. So what Kanye
and you know what? And they just to clarify as well, they means anybody outside our culture,
right?
All the people that have enjoyed the rhythm and not our blues. All the people that have done grime versions, but they've done a Bhangra version, but they don't talk about no black issues. All the people that are from another part of the world who don't have no badness, but have profited from hanging out with black British rappers. Talking about you lot as well. When it's all fun, like, do you know what I mean? Even down to people who, you know, I know you see black women that used to do nail art, you know, and have like rings on the end of their nails and, you know, get the acrylic and put the jewels on it and them kind of things there. And then have like the gold stars and stuff in their teeth. And when black women did all that, it was ghetto. It was ratchet. Yeah. Now everyone's walking around with pink and blue fucking hair.
But this is what I'm saying to you. I told you, black culture is the best advertisement.
Right.
Like you use black culture to advertise anything it can shut. You get what I'm showing you. But going back to the point, and what I'm saying is, this is what Kanye is doing. You have to understand and see it for what it is. My man is. He said, I'm wearing their pain. They've been wearing mine for years. You get what I'm showing you. And he, as much as he's a billionaire, he talks like a poor man.
He does.
He talks from a poor perspective.
You know what's a good, and that's the point. Because I actually believe some of the fuel for his rants, I believe is because that's how he feels. I think Kanye has had periods of artistic, creative, as well as industrial frustration where he has dealt with glass ceilings again and again. Like, I don't want to just make regular clothes like these other people. I want to be doing haute couture.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's when he had the manager with Sway, and Sway was like, build it yourself. And he was like, you ain't got the answer, Sway. But Sway did have the answers.
Yeah.
Sway is a Rasta man and a black man. So in the end, but Kanye had to concede.
Yeah.
Nah, Sway was right still.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, I'd include Pharrell in this as well. But so far as I have a clear picture of how haute couture and high fashion houses dealt with like black culture before and after Kanye. And I'll tell you one thing. See all these trainers now, everyone, Alexander McQueen's got a crep, D&G's got a crep, everyone's got a crep. I know who influenced that.
Rago, bro.
You get me?
Rago.
I know who influenced that.
Like, he goes into all of that. I mean, I want to go through a few points. As one of the things he spoke about was the way that Diageo as a liquor company dealt with P. Diddy versus how Adidas dealt with him, and the cultural clout that they got by tapping into the culture through the likes of Diddy and Kanye, respectively. You get me? Then,
you know what? Listen, Diddy is the reason people drink Ciroc. Let's be honest.
Yeah, standard.
That, you know, and on the point, because he raised another point. Now, I want to make sure I park the whole thing. Doesn't matter how long ago it was. That incidence of violence towards Cassie is deplorable, man. And man should get the full extent of the punishment to that. And anything that involves him being physically abusive to anybody vulnerable, be they a woman, a child, or a man, fuck that shit, But I'm going to let you know now, I'm not going to not listen to the tunes that Diddy has produced or been an executive producer for, because this brother's discography is not just Biggie Smalls, and other thing. I'm talking about Jodeci and Mary J. Blige and Mario Winans. And you know why I'm not doing it? And this is the thing I want to make sure is very clear, We were still paying off human traffickers from this country until 2016 as compensation that they couldn't traffic humans anymore. So if you think that I'm going to stop listening to these tunes that Puff Daddy produced because of human trafficking charges, I'm afraid not. Because you lot are allowed to make money from human trafficking. Your whole capitalist system is built on human trafficking. And up to now, no one wants to do no reparations. That's fine. So then, you lot say, oh, he's involved in sex trafficking. Well, so are you lot. And you lot get to run record labels and have money, and it's all good.
And we're going to get more into that because we spoke a couple episodes ago about the JFK list.
Yeah.
And more interest. Well, I'm interested in the JLK list or the JLK papers or investigation, and also the
JF and MLK things.
Well, MLK we kind of know because I mean,
a lot of people know with JFK too. So
yeah, they do. But we'll get into it. But the whole point is, like, when you look at, again, going back to the whole P. Diddy thing and whatever, and to echo your point, I definitely don't agree with, like, when I saw what he did to Cassie, like, if one of my bridgings did that to their girls, bro, I'd bang him.
Yeah, you couldn't be friends.
Like, it's not even be friends. Like, I'm from a time, we're old school. I'm from a time.
You got to swing on a man for that.
Man would just say, all right, then I see you. You get what I'm showing you. Come, man ain't really down for them things there. So I put all of that aside. We're just talking from a business point of view and how black people are dealt with in regards to business. And as soon as they're not applying to a certain agenda, they get dropped from these major brands.
Well, what's also interesting is, remember, the video with Cassie was leaked because there was a payoff that happened when that happened.
Right.
So it means that somebody knew the nature of his heinous crimes and they kept quiet about it until it was no longer financially convenient for them to leak the video.
Right, and that was an attempt to spoil my man's credentials.
Yeah.
Spoil P. Diddy's credentials in the industry.
When it was convenient to them.
When it was convenient to them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, we know that this happens, especially, and for context, I work in the music industry. Yeah. There's a lot of pussy holes in the music industry.
Of course,
and the thing about it is, with the feminization of men in general, and the feminization of black men in particular, which is mostly, well, I think mostly, but a lot of the men that I deal with in the music industry makes you want to punch them in the face because they act like gal. You get what I'm showing you? It's a whole different subject, but it really is a side note that needs mentioning. We are now in a right-wing era, so those pussy holes out there know that when you're acting like dickheads in the industry, there's limited space for you now.
Oh, yeah.
There is a space now. Daddy's home. You get me? And where the kids were playing up, daddy's home. Mommy ain't got the power no more. You get me? Daddy's out swinging his belt. You get me? So I just want to say that and that. But when you talk about P. Diddy and that whole Cassie thing, that should have got eliminated long time. Like, if you know your brethren's doing that, you should have banged him up long time, make him know that that kind of thing's not on. But put that to a side. We're just talking purely business. Once these companies, they gather that evidence on you, do business with you, tap into the culture to the degree that they have. So when they're making millions, if not billions, off the culture, and then when they're ready to drop the person that gave them the connect,
exactly.
You get what I'm showing you?
When it's time to throw somebody under the bus.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I say that, and I want to highlight that as a point, because there's a lot of people, you know, and I'm not implicating anyone. I'm just using these people's names as examples. But you have your likes of your PKs, you have your likes of your Harry Pineros, Trunks, these men that are building successful careers in the media space. And I know that some of these spaces can be skullduggerous. So when they're bringing you into certain rooms, I'm talking about the youngers now, that are getting into those same spaces. Understand that sometimes, like, selling your soul is not an event, it's a process. It'll be shining one man's shoes today.
You got to make sure you
something else. And
say that again slowly for people to hear, because that's
selling your soul is not an event, it's a process. Yeah. So when you're going into these rooms, you'll be shining someone's shoes today, but you'll be shining something else tomorrow if you don't understand what you're agreeing to when you're agreeing to it.
You let a certain man put his arm over your shoulder.
You get me?
In a way that you would let someone you don't know do that. When
you decide, actually, I don't want to do this, or I'm coming out with this, or rare, that's when they drop the you rapist or rare, when really they should have straightened you out from the very moment that you showed signs of being a sex trafficker or whatever it is that you want to level at a man. You get what I'm showing you? But that is the message I want to kind of spread in that. You get me? Like, be aware, because again, we have people from our community wanting to be YouTubers, and those YouTubers are tomorrow's presenters on mainstream media, And if you're sitting there thinking the executive that, you know, it seems cool, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was just a bit of coke, and then the next time
that's how it starts.
You get me?
That's
and
how it
then
starts.
man's just documenting all of that, and then the moment you say no, then it's like, you get me? So yeah, I say that to say that right there. But it was interesting. He also made a play for, and this kind of further emphasizes the point I'm making there, because you have Playboy Carti, who he in terms of the Cassie, let's isolate everything else and talk about Cassie and P. Diddy and what P. Diddy did to Cassie. Playboy Carti's done the same thing. Everybody knows it. You get me? Beat up his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or whatever the case may be. The executives know it. You know what I mean? This is public information, so this is not me saying something that I shouldn't be saying. But yeah, he's being supported heavily by the industry. You get what I'm showing you? And then, I don't really pay much attention to Playboy Carti, but I did a bit of research today, and there's a picture that's going, like, it's like part of his mainstream promotion with him in devil horns. Yeah, like, this geezer looks like he's gone. You get me? So I don't even know who would want to be listening to this, brother, because it's a madness anyway. If your child is listening to Playboy Carti, I'd be concerned, because this
they almost definitely will be, because especially because him and Kendrick got a tune on the new album.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so it's Kendrick's on the new album, which Kanye kind of alluded to as well. And
that is disappointing, Kendrick. I'm not gonna lie. You get me?
Well.
Like, but you know what though? One of the things that I've realized over the last couple of years is that a lot of our favorite rappers are involved in this fuckery than we'd like to think. You get? I'm sure. Yeah. Trust me, and I make this prediction now. In the next 2 years, we are going to have to cancel a rapper that we're all gonna be gasping at. Like, he did what? You get? I'm showing you. Like,
I think it'll happen sooner than that.
well, I'm only saying 2 years as a. Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's coming. You get? I'm showing you, it's a madness.
Well, I think that, and this is one of the things that I feel like Kanye alluded to in his interview. I mean, if you can pick it out of what was a lot of rantings, and some of the I've never seen academics look scared before. Because academics likes to act like he's got that kind of energy that you know what Kanye refers to as dragon energy. He likes to act like I'll say what I want and I don't fear nobody and blah blah.
But that's because he's like he gets supported by the industry tenfold. Like
exactly, and
I hate people like
and seeing his face.
You know the definition of a dickhead is someone acting like what they're not.
Yeah.
And that's what academics is.
Absolutely.
Dickhead. I don't even like talking on these people, you know, because
I hate it.
But I say this because I feel like our community can sometimes be led astray by these people.
Especially adolescent members of our community.
Right.
Going back to that point.
Yeah.
I don't want my children being raised and receiving by academics, because academics recently was involved in a case where he was talking to a 14-year-old Palestinian boy and trying to sexualize the youth.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting because, like you said, he's back out doing interviews, which means somebody in industry has an interest in this guy staying on the roads. Whereas seeing his reaction to somebody who is not withheld by industry and is not beholden to the same masters, and seeing how they speak and seeing his face, let me know what time it is with academics. Because you got mouth for days. You can chat to anybody, but when Ye was talking,
you weren't saying,
you was like,
you know what it is as well? Like certain rappers that I've seen with academics, they ain't really man them. You get what I'm showing you? And the thing about Mandem is you can tell who Mandem is. You get like who is really about it, and academics is not about it, and you can smell it on him. You get what I'm showing you? He is the kind of geek that we used to really hate back in the day.
Academics is the only person I've ever seen that can make a £500 t-shirt look like a £10 t-shirt. He can wear it all. He can wear Amiri, what's his name? Balenciaga. Whatever that guy puts on, I look at him and think, bro, you might as well have just gone to ASOS for it, man.
Yeah, worthless.
Because he exemplifies what they say, that clothes don't make the man, innit?
Yeah.
Because but I completely agree with you on that subject, and it's a lot of the stuff that Kanye said. I'll be honest. Some of it was a cringe-inducing. Some of it I was like, oh, what's wrong with this guy? But what I cannot take away is, in the current culture, in the era we're in now, like I said, we are in a right-wing time now. That is the zeitgeist. We are in a capitalist focused time right now. Yeah, he's a billionaire. And last time I checked, we're letting billionaires do what the fuck they want. So before people start being like, I can't believe... Oh, no. There's billion people... I've seen a man buy the US government.
Right.
And begin asset stripping it. I seen a man walk off of a sexual assault charge. Because while we're Diddying, remember whose name was in the Epstein files, but the clue is, well, he's in a very high position in America right now. That's what I'll say. So, you get me? We're not as sensitive to the idea of trafficking as people like to make out. So I'm saying... It's
just agendas.
Right. It's just agendas.
And whose agenda really speaks for who. You get what I'm showing you? Who's in the most elitist position to make their agenda stick.
Yeah, and what an elite position is that you've got enough money and you have enough dependent outlets to realize your goals.
Define dependent outlets for me.
Well, I'm saying...
I love the way you said that. You get
so I'm
me?
saying,
it's really relevant.
In the case of Kanye... I don't have to rely on Adidas no more to make my stuff. I'm not beholden to them. I don't have to rely on Interscope, Universal, Vivendi, and this chain of centralized command of media entities in order to put out my music. I don't have to rely on going and asking for a TV station to give me time and generate views and give me a platform to say what I want, because I can go straight online to people that have enormous reaches and say what I need to say there. So, you know, for every one Kanye, I've seen a litany of white men that's got enough what they call fuck you money
Yes.
to say wild stuff.
Right.
Because Joe Rogan ain't got Kanye money, but he's telling people they have to eat horse paste to cure themselves of COVID. You get me?
I think I misunderstood what you were saying about that dependence thing. There's also the connections that you have. The reason why, and for those people who don't know about JFK, and this is something we're going to get into next because it's been massively overlooked. And anyway, I'll say this. The reason why JFK, it seems like there's a kind of shoulder drop or strap about the way that the investigations now come out, the what they're coining the JFK papers.
Yeah.
Showcasing potentially who could have murdered JFK. Now, considering JFK was a sitting president of the United States of America.
A massively popular one too, for the most part.
Right. And you know what? Today, if you look at his politics today, they would be right-wing. But anyway, that's a whole story for a different day. Yeah. Massively popular, yeah. He was murdered, sitting president, right? And everyone was up in arms about it. Now everyone's dead. Everyone who was involved in that murder is now dead, and now they want to release those papers. You get what I'm showing you? And then they've released them to a new generation that are almost like,
they don't care.
We don't care about that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I care because I like history, so I care. I'm actually interested to know. And the 80,000 pages that they released on the thing, it didn't really clear up the mockiness about who.
No, a lot of it's redacted as well. Still,
no, no redaction.
Oh, so
it's fully out there. But you know what it is? It's so everywhere and everything that nobody. If you think that the Italian mobsters killed him, then it was them. If you feel it was American establishment or the government or even Lyndon, Lyndon Johnson, you get me, who killed him, like, or a culmination of all the three that I've just mentioned. There's so many. If it was Israeli Jews, like there's so much in it that it could be anybody who killed my man. You get what I'm showing you? One shooter, apparently.
You know who didn't do it though? No black people. That's who didn't do it. Yeah. That's who wasn't involved.
And Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it either.
Of course not.
Yeah. So I say none of these things are gonna come to fore. Like nobody's gonna see who was on the Epstein lists because these people are still alive.
Yeah. Of course.
It's about the connections because these people feed into other people's ecosystems. Yeah. So it's like if I'm a powerful individual in industry and media, and I'm feeding you, and vice versa, and then we've got an interconnected web, a network of people that are feeding people. People are getting paid, making millions, billions. You get me? If I get licked down, then not only do I know that you was in the room doing the same fuckery, but you get licked down too. The whole thing dies. So,
especially now where you've got basically media at large in terms of the West is largely owned by 6 companies own 90% of media in the West. And just to give you an idea of how mad it is, obviously people have got Disney Channel, yeah? Disney own all of the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Old and new, yeah? They own Pixar. They own Lucasfilm, so that's Star Wars and all them things, all them other things. They own Fox, so The Simpsons comes on there as well. They own ESPN. They own Marvel. So between Disney, just naming those things, they also own Star as well. I mean, that's childhood locked.
Yeah.
That's your childhood locked.
Yeah.
They own anything you think of that involves you being a child, that involves media. Disney probably own it now. So whatever agenda they want to push, who's stopping them? Well,
and this is why they say monopolization is dangerous.
Yeah,
monopolization is dangerous, and supposedly it's government's job to avoid companies from monopolizing too much because power, as we know, corrupts. And corrupts absolutely. You get what I'm showing you. So, but when you've got that interweaving web of 6 major media companies owning all media or 90% of media,
and then their owners, some of their owners aren't even like media companies. Like I think NBC, for example, is owned by General Electric.
But this is my whole point. So, but it's the interests of those people that need to be upheld so that these people can continue to make money. So if one of those people is on the Epstein's list, and goes onto Epstein's island and gets caught doing a madness, which P. Diddy probably knows about, which is the reason why they haven't burnt him in his cell alive already, because his sons are sitting there with the file saying,
he knows some blood. All them times that did no ever, as a black person, I used to think, why are you doing parties in the Hamptons, blood? It's just the whitest part, bro. Why not do your parties in Atlanta or Miami? Well, whatever happened up there.
Yeah, my man's got it all.
That's why when people are like, Puffy's got all that baby, or he's weird. He bought it in bulk for a reason. It's not. You get me? It's not just for his personal thing.
Yeah.
You don't buy.
Yeah.
If I buy a crate of drinks, it's not because it's me one wants to drink it.
P. Diddy was the ultimate provider of experiences.
Bloods. There's a film called Get Him to the Greek with Jonah Hill and Russell Brand in it, and Diddy's in it as well. And in the film, Russell Brand is playing a rock star. He hangs out, they party with Diddy, and he wants to go to another country. He's flying to LA or something like that, to the Greek theatre. And they're like, we need to move these drugs as well. And he tells the brother who's his gopher, Jonah Hill's playing his gopher, put this in your ass, because we're getting on his flight. And Diddy was there as well. I was like, yeah. What do you think you're supposed to be doing? Which means people have done, but I can tell you for free, I worked in comedy. I know people that make their runners and make young, impressionable people that want to get into entertainment mule their drugs for them. Do you know what I mean? There's people that work that rub shoulders with the creme de la creme of the British entertainment industry, and they will say to their runners, or they'll say to their interns, I need you to bring this 8 ball of Coke.
Well, you know what? Yeah, again, I work in the music industry, and there's a common term, or it used to be a common term. It's not so much common anymore because people cottoned on to it, but it used to go on the expenses as chocolates and flowers.
Okay.
So I'll leave that one there.
How interesting. And these are the things that Kanye alludes to many times in his interview through the haze of rants and personal attacks on what used to be former friends and expressions of jealousy. His comments about how our culture is exploited for the capital gain of others, I got no rebuttal. I'll be honest with you. And I actually believe what it comes down to is very simple. Fuck you, money.
Yes.
When you got your own things and people can't take it away from you and you can't be cancelled and you've gone beyond cancellation, as he says, you can start saying the things.
And you can't just kill people nowadays as well because it's just too coincidental.
Yep.
You get what I'm showing you? Because if Kanye was
you say that, but I just going back to that point about Diddy, and obviously everyone's talking about Diddy. So, you know, Prince Andrew was accused and had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, well, I hear that.
Well, and you know, he paid out 12 million they paid out as a civil case to this woman, Virginia Giuffre.
Yeah.
Virginia Giuffre, 4 days recently, was in a car crash in Australia. No, but she has organ failure. Both her kidneys have failed and she's got 4 days to live.
Wow. And I hear that, but she doesn't really have any, what's the word? Like, I don't know, maybe she has had some forethought, but I'm thinking, like, the moment that Diddy's houses got raided, he already took most of the stuff. Whatever they were looking for was gone. And then he was sending he was sending, allegedly sending packages to some remote Caribbean island.
Yeah.
Like, on a plane, and there was fear that he was actually trying to abscond and leave the country.
He was gone for a bit, innit? He went for a long time.
But in actual fact, he was loading up whatever he was loading up onto planes to ship them out, whatever it is, speculation about files and videotape footage and all them kind of things. But whatever it is, he must know he knows where the bodies are buried, and he's got enough sons and like that. If anything happens to him,
people who know that, well, if something happens to them, they're in trouble too.
Yeah, exactly. So that I feel like this whole P. Diddy case is just gonna string out, and it will come to something that is tantamount of a slap on the wrist. When it comes to
it'd be about me on tag or something.
Do you get what I'm showing?
The most.
They're doing the same sort of thing that they did with the JFK case. It's like string it out for so long that people don't care anymore. So when he's out and he's just doing his thing, it's like, whatever. You get what I'm showing you.
A lot of people are like, he won't be able to be a front-facing personality and presence like he's been historically.
Yeah,
but
probably.
Yeah, we say that, but Mark Wahlberg got convicted of 2 hate crimes and no one really brings that up.
Well, there is that as well. You get me? But all that to say, Kanye West, the interview, people need to stop dismissing this brother as just mad and not listening to him.
Yeah.
Listen to him and pick the sense from nonsense, because these things exist and are happening to our community, and we are not in position or not positioning ourselves properly to mitigate against the offences of the powers that be. And I'll leave that one there. Anything else you want to say on that?
Boy, if Kanye is mad as a self-made billionaire, we need to ask ourselves what the trade-off is when you are just trying to secure the bag, what that can do for your mind and soul. If you lot are going to say that he's mad, think about that. What in the pursuit of wealth drives somebody mad? And if he is mad, why are you all still chasing the bag?
There, see it there. So a quick one as well. So we had a conversation a few weeks ago about, again, the JFK files, and I was saying to you, I'm looking forward to those coming out. I want to in particularly know what happened with JFK, who the shooter was, and the circumstances behind it, and also Malcolm X. And I remember you saying to me, I don't really care about the Malcolm X files because I know what happened. To which I agree. I believe I know what happened. But here's where I feel like these papers need to be released, because a few things are happening, where I think kind of connect together. There seems to be a normalization of the way that, and I'm going to say America in general, kind of do their business when they want their dirty work, when they want to get rid of people for whatever reason, you get me, whether it be MLK, or Malcolm X, or even JFK, you get me? Like, people then just don't care. But the problem is, at the time, when fast forward, what is it, 60 odd years ago? I think it was 1963 that happened. So yeah, 60 odd years ago. Yeah. Think about it like this now. 60 years ago, we seldom care about what happened to JFK. Think about the people within our community that only know a bit about Malcolm X. Will not even care how he got assassinated. Therefore, we don't know whether or not we should be trusting certain people and how much we should be trusting them. American government, for one, you get what I'm showing you. So fast forward to 2025, when you have the Congolese government trying to strike a deal with the American government, whereby if the American government provides security, they will then give them dibs on their resources underground. Now, again, it might be a tenuous connection. You get what I'm showing you, but like, as a culture and as a diaspora, we need to understand who we can and can't trust. Because if the American government, for whatever reason, can murder their own sitting president, if they can murder a black leader as significant as Malcolm X, and we don't get to see the circumstances around it, we don't get to acknowledge the gap it left, the impact it had at the time on the impact that Malcolm X had on our community at the time.
Sorry to cut you, but we need to establish, bro, the black progression or black progressiveness has never been the same since 1968. We never recovered.
Yeah,
you can't downplay it. So going back to what I said before, when I said I don't, because I think I know who did it.
Yeah,
I want to add to that. Because I've recently been reading a new book, and when I finish reading it, because it's not out officially yet.
Right.
I'm reading the draft manuscript.
Right.
But this book,
friends like that, bro.
I'll fill you in, bro. I'll fill you in. You'll be maybe surprised when you find out as well.
Oh,
but great book from a very well educated man. Now, this book talks about. So for me, one of the things in terms of my whole journey, even what we're doing now, started back when I was still working, and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And the narrative in that was a large thing that pushed me to be like, I've got to start doing stuff for myself and live a life where my mind can be free. That's how influential that book was to me. So when I was even doing, and then going on to my journey with like looking into Malcolm X and looking into other leaders, Dick Gregory was the first African-American comedian on television in America's history. He said he went from earning pennies to making so much money that black people couldn't afford to see him. and then turned his back on that to be a part of the civil rights. He says Malcolm X cleaned up the entire East Coast. In that, when Martin Luther King was from the South and from Georgia, and came from a class which would be considered more liberal, more left of center, middle class, even though in the church, but ideologically more progressive. When he went to Chicago, they told him to fuck off. Because for the people that were part of the Great Migration that moved to the northern and northeastern or western metropolitan cities, they still experienced Jim Crow and racism. So when man showed up and was like, we need to be like, love our neighbor, they were like, fuck, get the fuck out of here with that, bro. We're living in shit, cause rats and projects and all the rest of it. And obviously, obviously Atlanta, even today, is a very prosperous place and considered Black Mecca. And that's where, you had Morehouse and HBCUs. And this is where Martin Luther King is from. Now, I say that because these places like Chicago and Philadelphia and stuff were much more receptive to Malcolm X. And because of that, his influence is so large that when you go to places like Harlem, you go to places like Philadelphia, these men don't eat pork. These when you still go Brooklyn and the man are like, you go to the man's shop to buy your shea butter and all the rest of it, man, I just come from Masjid. It's because of him. I would even go so far as to say, to be quite honest, where you have a lot more open people celebrating and embracing Islam, especially following the war on terrorism and the start of Islamophobia. See, way before this, the Islamic diaspora in the UK have to acknowledge the person that was flying the flag for Islam from morning, and one of the most prolific ones, was Malcolm X. Malcolm X, I believe, in the West, was to Islam what Bob Marley was to reggae and Jamaican culture. He is that important that he cleaned up the East Coast. Man on the East Coast stopped drinking, stopped eating red meat, and a large amount of that comes from Malcolm X. Because when the film came out, which the book I'm reading talks about some of the inaccuracies in that film, when the film came out, Malcolm X, directed by Spike Lee, they diluted a lot of what he was saying and diluted a lot of what he wanted to do, because by the end, he wanted to form a secular organization, which is the OAAU, because it was about leading Black people to progression, irrespective of what their religion was. Right. And that was interrupted by his murder. And just to, we can talk about it another time here, but I will say, I can go back on what I say. Obviously, I know who murdered him, but it is crucial that people know how important this man was and how threatened they were by him. Because in this book, it says they pushed so many FBI men to infiltrate his organization. When Malcolm X was shot in the ballroom, the second person that attended to his wounds was an FBI agent. That's how many people they put around him
to make sure that the job was done.
Yeah,
you get. I'm sure.
And to disrupt the movement. They used to do stuff like get people to write fake letters insulting Martin Luther King, written by Malcolm X, and vice versa. Yeah. Even you will see the Guardian. Even all these left. They imply that he was a junkie, that he was gay, that he worked in a brothel and all the rest of it. Because people are aware that this is somebody that can speak to Black people irrespective of where they sit socioeconomically. A man that speaks to the intellectuals, because he went and spoke at Oxford and Cambridge. But I used to trap when I was in Penn, and I used to run up in houses. So I was a light skinned man. I used to push the whip, have the things on the side. I used to be brocking into people's houses. I used to be sniffing coke. Also, I was shotting as well. Had my strap on me. Who can't relate to that?
So I'm going to mirror what you said, and I'm going to echo what you said by saying it's doubly important that we all understand as a diaspora, one, how important Malcolm X was. Two, the fact that everything you've said about him being killed to interrupt the movement and the impact that he was having, and the correlation of distrust that we must have for our enemies, and I'm just going to put it like that, because at the end of the day, if the Congolese prime minister can now be thinking about teaming up with America, thinking that it's going to be in their interest, when long term it's going to be in the interest of the America, and in the light of we already had a Thomas Sankara, we have an Ibrahim Traore, get down to Congo and talk to this bloody idiot.
He's starting. That's how that's I was reading that as well recently. That's why they killed Thomas Sankara.
Yeah, I know.
He was already beginning, because he was already beginning to put together delegations to help out with building tensions in Rwanda, because the Rwandan genocide was a precursor that was used in order to allow European powers to get into the Congo.
So and I want yes, and this is I want to caveat. Well, not even caveat. I want to really drive home a point. When you're talking about the Rwanda genocide and also what's happening today between Rwanda and Congo, what people need to understand is that these are Western powers interfering in both sides, funding both sides, so that they can fight each other and kind of showcasing it as a Muslim versus Christian war. And then America comes as the great white savior and says, "Oh, we're gonna save you." And then there's perceived peace in the region. They clear the land and take the resources at a much cheaper price than what they should do for supposed peace.
As if they even take the resources.
Why?
Let's not forget. Go ahead. Yeah.
While at the same time, the Prime Minister and his family have swan off and enjoy a lovely life. This has been happening for centuries. So my thing is this, we need to understand the core of it, and the reason why I brought this up is the Malcolm X files. We need to know that and publicize it so that everyone far and wide knows who we can and shouldn't be trusting.
He was there. Let's not forget he was there, because before it was Congo, it was Zaire. And there was a rumble in I'll let you know. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Remember, it was before it was called the Democratic Republic of Congo, it was Zaire, as it was named by these fucking colonial pussy-holes, pussy-hole King Leopold.
Yeah,
you suck the devil's dick. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then,
worse than Hitler, by the way.
Absolutely,
we need to
a bit. So then, basically, when Patrice Lumumba was leading for independence, the CIA had him killed, and replaced with Mobutu Sese Seko.
Yeah,
and this was the madman, like you said, swanning off fleets of Mercedes and all the stupidness. And then they had to fight with Foreman and Ali in it, Rumble in Jungle.
Yeah,
And then who else was there supporting Muhammad Ali?
Malcolm X.
That's what I'm saying. He was there.
Yeah.
And now history is fun.
Right.
He was there. That's what I'm trying to say. And now America's coming back after all that stuff that happened in before it became the Democratic Republic of Congo. That was them.
Yes.
This is how they got their fourth industrial revolution. Now they've come back because there's now other countries that they're seeing are beginning to grow and proliferate, and their demand for resources like China, like BRICS. And now they're saying, because Rwanda, and now I'm only just kind of beginning to deep it now. Rwanda and Congo is a proxy war that's going to be between America, that's now separated itself from NATO, who want to try and run things in Congo, and the proxy war where the UK and other European powers have said, we're going to send you refugees and give you money, and that money gets spent on weapons and stuff, so that Paul Kagame can continue his incursion into the Congo.
But you see, that's all agendas that they use to show that they just get. It's like money laundering. They just money laundering in to spend it on.
Oh, as you've said many times, money is fake.
Yes.
So that's all fake. The real thing is the coltan.
Yes.
And diamonds.
Yes.
And cobalt.
Yes.
And even in Rwanda, whether it was down to timber, even down to, and I met a brother who was a geologist who went to the Congo, said that even the vegetation is the best you will get. This is the heartbeat, South Central, this is the heart of Africa, the most mineral-rich place on the planet. Yeah, this is what these motherfuckers are gearing up to do, a madness.
You know what? And with that, we will carry on with the discussion because, anyway, we'll get on to that next time. We need to wrap up.
Yeah, man.
Brother, we're back again.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
Please like and subscribe and hit the bell button and all them ting there so you know when the next time we're going to be uploading episodes. And you can find us on MYB_pod UK. Yeah, MYB_pod UK everywhere on all platforms. Dane, where can we catch you?
It's about doing the gigging when we're not doing a podcast, and another podcast, Citizen Dane, which is my own little comedy podcast and like about current events. But yeah, find me on all the socials. Just look up Dane Baptiste, and I'll let you know where I'm going to be performing comedy live. And yeah, what we doing? We're about though. You
can find Index on nowhere. I'm out. Blessings.
Peace, my brother.
Yeah, man.